Welcome back to Incredibelle Conversations. Today, with me, your host, Isabelle Wellman. Today, we are talking about being a chronic people pleaser and how to overcome it, why we want to overcome that. And even if we're afraid or if we're nervous on what the future holds on the other end of outrunning this people pleasing mentality and behavior, we got it all. We're unlocking it here and now. So, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. And we're going to dive in with what is a people pleaser. So, a people pleaser is the following, which some of these are taken from Psychology Today. So I'm adding in a few from them and a few of my own. So maybe you pretend to agree with everyone because you're afraid that you will say the wrong thing. You might feel responsible for how other people feel. You might over apologize for anything and everything. You feel burdened by the things you have to do, or you feel a burden to other people. Saying no is extremely difficult. Maybe it's uncomfortable for you to be in a confrontive situation. Whether you are confronting someone or someone is confronting you, you want to run away. You rather lay in front of a train coming at you. Perhaps you begin to shapeshift and you morph into the people you're around so that you will be accepted, that you will be likable. Praise or external validation is the gateway drug for feeling good. That is probably maybe how you feel good, the only way you may feel good about yourself or your life. And other things like going to extremes to avoid keyword conflict or issues or problem solving or being with yourself, being alone, feeling like the world is collapsing when you are by yourself because of having anxiety or running thoughts or the inability to calm yourself down because you don't know who you are. And admitting when your feelings are hurt doesn't happen. You may bottle this up, and then this resentment starts to build within yourself. Another one is that your worth depends on your achievements and your level of success, which isn't always the healthiest place to come from. So, wow, did you resonate with any of that at all? Because you are in good company. Me, I was a chronic people pleaser for 23 years. I'm not shitting you. Why? Well, this often is an issue of a deeper concept, a deeper edge within us, and it's our self worth and not feeling like we are worthy. We do not feel that within ourselves. And so that's really the main neon sign issue that's going on. But when does it develop? Like why did I have this for 23 years? Well, it's often from childhood and childhood trauma. And when we have a parent or a guardian or a figure that's an adult who we as a child see as the one in power, how we must be or must act like, who's setting the standard, so to say, may have been immature emotionally and may have had this two-way street way of being where in public they would be liking and lovable and bragging about your success and really like honoring your achievements and putting on this different mask, whereas at home they unleash their anger, they make you a burden, they make you feel small, unimportant. They don't want to actually go and support you. They don't actually want to go and show up at the soccer game or whatever the case. If it's not helping them in that moment or X, Y, and Z, then it's a problem and you're their problem. And so they make you the problem. And so you learn that you don't want to be the problem, that you don't want to make people upset or angry or feel uncomfortable. So you take it upon yourself in your little body, in your little developing brain, that you must go to whatever lengths to be like everyone else so that they feel comfortable and happy, that your feelings don't matter. You must deny your needs, aka, you are sleeping at someone's house. They do not give you more than a 1 inch thick fleece blanket. I'm talking those micro thin fleece blankets that do barely nothing. And usually we buy them to go on top of a dog's bed. So they give you one of those, and you're laying there. Their parents keep the house cold because the electric bill cannot go up. So you are laying there freezing your titties off, and you do not want to ask or be a burden to the person you're with by asking for another blanket to make you feel better, to make you feel warmer. So you suffer all night being as frozen as an ice block until, thank God, the hours have passed and you can finally pretend you are just waking up and, wow, I slept great. This is amazing. Denying your feelings over and over. And so that's just one extreme example that I would be in as a child often, because I didn't want to make people upset or feel like they didn't do enough or didn't do a good enough job or that I needed any help. Because if I needed help, that was the worst thing that could have ever happened. Because then they would have to waste their time helping me. So you might even have learned to become a hyper independent person and knowing that your issues mean nothing compared to the world's issues. And so you just keep, you put on your sister's issues, your mom's, you put on your dogs, you put on the teachers, you put on Aunt Carol's, you put on everyone's issues on your own back. But where's the room for yours? And so this can be why we become a people pleaser. Like one of the very few ways that we can become. It's just childhood trauma. And having someone who isn't responsible or mature themselves, because hey, when in this society have we been initiated properly into adulthood? Rare case that anyone these days experiences what it means to go from prepubescent, pre-menstrual cycle, pre-puberty to puberty, to having hormones, influx like crazy, to knowing how to honor ourselves as independent, capable, worthy individuals. I mean, maybe if you're lucky enough to have had a bar mitzvah where they literally give you a grand party for becoming or stepping from boyhood to manhood, womanhood to girlhood. Excuse me if I completely slaughtered the culture there. Yes, I did. So I'm sorry, but just my raving example. That it really is a societal issue. But if we want to just come back up to the surface a little bit, it's from childhood. So, guess what? You are an adult and you are safe in your body. And we are going to go through what it's like to learn how to overcome people pleasing, step into actualization of the self, being self accountable, self responsible, and learning the steps it takes to go from this hyper pleaser to an independent, okay with being alone, loving individual of the self. And I will just quickly share my story of at 23 when this happened. So, you may have heard parts of this story before, but I stopped being a people pleaser when I broke up with my first long-term boyfriend in Colorado. And I broke up with him 4 days or 3 days before my birthday. And it was just a long year and a half because we had been dating for almost 3 years. About a year in, we were doing great. I had a big old road bump. Never talked about this road bump, which some of you know about. And I became numb. I became small. I was not authentic in my expression. I didn't know that I could take up space. I was afraid to say the wrong thing. It was hard for me to be assertive or speak my mind because of the situation we had together. I felt like I couldn't have my own friends and that I was getting, limited time to be alone in my solitude. And I'd get questioned about that. So it was just like a lot of impending issues. And so when I finally had a job where, I could be by myself with other new people that weren't in my current field and learn who I was, learn how funny I was, or, express my own dry humor, express my needs, my desires, my wants, my beliefs, and without being judged for it, a new door opened. And I was still, we were still dating at this time, but I was beginning to learn about a whole new world. And I was also beginning to learn the importance of female relationships in my life and how powerful they were, as well as being seen and shown my own reflection of limitation and where I would get stuck and where I still needed to surrender and open my heart and open my perspective to life and self discipline, not taking the easy way out, really standing up for what I believed in, having my own back. So a lot took place, but it built up my own courage to go, hey, this isn't working. We're going our separate paths, and that's okay. And this needs to be done because it's toxic. It's not growing, it's depleting. And when you're a people pleaser, it can be anything in your life. Maybe it's a boss, maybe it's a school friend or high school friend, excuse me. Maybe it's a group of friends or a group that you're a part of. I know there's like some culty churches out there, whatever the case. Whatever, or a relationship, like whatever it is that you are deeply in, it can be hard to notice you're a people pleaser or admit you are one. But once you start feeling that funk and you can get into a new space or be surrounded by new people who love you, support you, are not judgmental, want to learn from you, are showing you that you are equal with them, they're asking what you need as equally as you're asking what they need. It's a teamwork effort. It's a friendship that's nourishing. And I say friendship loosely just because it could be anything, but at the base of any relationship, there should be a friendship, even if it's just acquaintances. Being able to be capable of having difficult conversation as well as amazing and happy conversation where it's safe to express your authentic truth, your internal feelings without getting shut down or told you're a burden, right? So we need to be brought into a space or discover a space like that or seek out a space like that if we are someone wanting to overcome this chronic behavior, this way of being, to unlearn. If you want to hear more about unlearning, go back to episode 61, I believe, just unlearning your behaviors, social normalities. I forget what I called the episode, but it's just a couple back. So that was a huge one for me when I was able to be in that new space, new people, new places, new things, new ideas. I was watching my parents finally like get divorced and go through the divorce process. I had like my last time with them seriously together, watched all of it unravel, and it was just a new time for me. I was like, I'm ready. I'm capable. I can do this. Yeah, it was the hardest decision in my life because I didn't know what was to come. And when we are the people pleaser who is making a decision consciously to overcome this, to stop, to unlearn, to learn new ways of operating, we don't know who we are anymore. We just let go of an identity, whether we were attracting people that treated us like dirt and were rude and unforgiving and did not see us as equal in their eye. Wow, it's a relief. Like, first of all, you're gonna feel so much better. You're gonna feel a wave of electricity run through your body because it's something you've never experienced before or something entirely new. All of that weight that you've been holding for everyone else that wasn't on your side or wasn't supportive or wasn't complementary to your life, but was leeching out of you, like stealing your energy, sucking it because you were allowing them to, because you were the one saying yes to this. Let's not forget the responsibility here. We do choose this consciously or not. Yes, we have to obviously heal and obviously get through this from the childhood wound standpoint. But when you do that, holy shit, you're gonna feel better. Needless to say. And you will find yourself. You have to trust. And another caveat to this conversation is I like to say you have to believe in something bigger than you, higher than you. I don't care what you call it, I don't care how you practice it, but you have to believe in a spirit, a God, a you that is higher, whether that's your higher self or your, whatever you believe in the sky. You are going to know what feels best for you. Some people don't want to pray and praise to an entity that is faceless, that maybe is only in pictures, whatever the case. That's fine. Find out who you are in the future, get those details written down, and honor them. Doesn't matter. But as long as you have something that you are chasing, or I guess honoring, like speaking to, having conversations with to help you not go crazy, needless to say, it is going to be monumental in this journey. Because if you cannot believe, if you cannot have faith that it's all working for you, you are literally walking in this life exactly how you need, every step, every little pothole, every hurdle, every obstacle, every fruit you get to pick from the tree and be satisfied with the taste of. All of those moments in life, you are being put exactly where you need to. And for an example, if you're in a group of women and one of them, because we grew up with this competitive nature in women, especially, instead of bonding and nourishing and supporting each other, because we damn powerful when we support each other and we're in a group. That's, big reason behind this. But when we compete and we have this competing feeling, we are taking ourselves out of this faith. We are taking ourselves out of this belief that we are exactly where we need to go, and the people who are going to come to us and be attracted to us will be attracted to us because we do not need to compete for attention or approval or any of the like. We get to just say, hey, cool, I honor you taking up space, using your voice, being loud and proud, and, being who you are. Because I'm going to be here in my energy, balancing out the energies, the masculine and the feminine. And those who are not feeling like they can take on your energy, like they'll be attracted into my orb. So forth and so on. That's a very small example, but that is how we can stop competing with forces around us and begin to acknowledge and honor the process of us walking forward, hand in hand with one another. So take a big, deep breath, hold at the top, exhale out of the body, release the shoulders away from the ears. Do that as many times as you need and know that you're exactly where you need to be. And it can be a lot to take on the, I'm responsible. Holy moly, why is this happening? And no, like, you're here. And if you really want this shift, keep listening. Like, you're exactly where you need to be. And it's not as difficult as you think, but do know that you're going to lose relationships. You're going to lose your sense of identity. You're going to lose the people who disrespect you, who think you're a burden, who are not honoring you. And you're going to need to become okay with your healing process, with the here and now, acknowledging your feelings, and actually making it your homework to go back to childhood, take responsibility for what you took on as a child, forgive what you cannot change, which is in the past. Anything that has already happened, you must forgive yourself for not being able to make it a different experience, because you only have the power of now and what's going to happen moving forward. So, amen to that. Aho, we love that. That's amazing magic, amazing power right there. And we'll get to actually put into practice, if you're serious, the tips and tricks I give you. So, first and foremost, I keep saying the word self, self actualization, which is the realization or fulfillment of one's talents and potentialities, especially considered as a drive or a need present in everyone. So you know where you're going, you find fulfillment consistently, and you understand that you are a gift in your own way, and that you are on a mission that only you can speak to, and you're content with believing in yourself, your heart, your emotions, your ideas. You're okay with having conflicting energy with someone and maturely working through it, because you are not your past and you are not your caregivers. You are you. And that is a beautiful gift. So, these are some of the traits and experiences of someone who is, you know, very honed in on their self actualization. First and foremost, constant sense of appreciation for life, for everything around you, for waking up. It's finding satisfaction in the moment. Yes, you are building a business and it might be stressful, but how can I focus on being satisfied in a different way? How? And always being, I can be satisfied from my sight, from my eyesight. I can see what's coming towards me, what's leaving me. I can be satisfied with how this shirt feels on my body. I can be satisfied by the color on the wall, whatever it is. It's just a sense of appreciation for what is around you in this here and now. Another one is embodying the acceptance, and involves accepting what is going on in the world and then taking steps to go, oh, well, if this is a little rocky, I'm going to do this instead. Or I'm going to take a step in this direction versus that direction, because I know that this one, path B, feels better than path A. So it's really embodying acceptance of where you are and who you are. Embodying who you are is key because it's your individuality, and your individuality is so beautiful. We'll hear more on that as the conversation goes. Another one is realistic about your feelings, your ideas, and your dreams, not in the limiting way, but in the fact that you take real steps. Even when a difficult moment or outcome arises, you approach it with a can do attitude. You go, all right, I'm going to pause. Let me register what's going on. Let me understand how I can experience this in my body. What's the deeper meaning of it? What's the deeper edge? Just like a people pleaser's deeper edge is having self-worth issues. What's the deeper edge of this difficult experience, and where might I feel afraid or incompetent or whatever word, and how can I forgive, believe, accept, love, and move forward? What can I do to move forward? And this one goes hand in hand. So problem solving orientation, exactly what I just spoke to. Not letting an obstacle affect your emotions to the point of completely debilitating you from moving forward in your day, from getting overwhelmed, from getting your nervous system like unregulated. It's really having regulation of the nervous system, knowing that your life isn't ending. It's asking those questions. This is what my partner and I do. If either of us are in a fickle and we're just spiraling, we'll go, hey, are you hungry? And if we are, we'll eat something. But are you starving? Are you dying? Are you cold? Like, if you are starving, dying, or cold, those are three big problems. And two of those you can change. And one of them is untrue if you can still answer the question. So that is just a really basic way that we come back into our bodies and go, oh, yeah, like we're taken care of. In this moment, we are fine. We are safe. We are good. Really, really like funny cosmic way to laugh at it too. Then being independent and unafraid to be alone or to do things alone or to try something challenging alone. That's a great way to know that you have like strong self-actualization, honoring your life and your own thoughts, your beliefs, all of those things, and also benefiting from taking space to contract, to go in, to break down, to have moments when you just need to think, just need to contemplate, need to analyze, need to reevaluate, all of those classical ways of going inside, but really making that time for yourself. It's having this philosophical perspective on life because everything's just a joke at the end of the day. And if we take it too seriously, well, then we're going to miss the joke. And what's the point? We're just going to get mad all over again. So we just really need to chill. Just need to chill and let life be life and have fun with it. Play. Because what else are we here to do other than play? And then another and last trait is knowing that you have a purpose here. I speak about this sometimes, but when you know you have a mission, that only you can understand, that only you can tell yourself. Like, I know I have a mission to help people feel accepted in this world, to feel at home, to not feel like they are missing out, that they are, that they have this potential and that they get to be the ones to tap into it, to really show people that you just have to believe in yourself. And it's funny that I was such a people pleaser and I didn't believe in myself for a very long time, fully. And since I've been on this journey, that's been my mission, is to show people like, hey, this was my weakness and I'm making it my greatest strength. Every single day I'm practicing that, like, you got to have the self-worth belief within you to do the great things, to have the big dreams, to be the entrepreneur, the whatever it is. So, those are that's the difference between a people pleaser and having self-actualization. And now the big question: how do we get from being a people pleaser to having self-actuality? Well, I'm happy to tell you that here are the steps. We're really bullet point today. This is how I stay on topic and I don't get too off task with y'all. So, when we shift from chronic people pleasing to self responsibility, actuality, we become self aware. And in my process, that hit me home. I was like, man, I really don't want to continue living in Colorado. I don't want to be a ski instructor my entire life, solely a ski instructor, and then solely a seasonal worker, more so, landscaper, whatever, barista. I just figured out what I did and did not want. I became aware of what my desires were. That I had this feeling of I'm here to do something big, something greater. I have no idea how I'm going to get to that, but being here isn't going to make that happen any sooner. So I know that I need to make a decision now about this of staying or leaving to make that happen. And if I really want it to happen, I got to leave. I got to leave everything I know and love and figure it out and heal and learn and fuck up and heal again and learn and fuck up and get out of the cycle. And then it's going to continue on. So becoming self-aware is a huge component of having this self-awareness of responsibility, actuality. Biggest key. You got to do that first. And then individuality, like I said earlier, it is key. Who you are, what you look like, sound like, act like, we need you. We need you because you are a medicine in a very specific way, in a specific environment, in a specific community that may or may not get bigger. However, you and only you know who you are at your soul. And you know that because you feel good, you feel peaceful, and you feel relaxed. Like I can be very philosophical and in this channeling mode, or I can be a big freaking goofball. And I can be iconic in the sense of being dramatic. I can be outdoorsy and really channeled into strategy. Like, you know exactly your individuality in different moments of your life and different ways that you are. You got to just listen to what that is and figure it out and really accept it and fall in love with it. Because if you want to fall in love with someone else, you got to fall in love with you. You can listen to my conscious relationships episode about that if you want to learn how to fall in love with yourself a little bit more. And then to also go from the PP to the SR, people pleaser, to self responsible. Got to cleanse your space of energy vampires. And you got to release them. Because guess what? When you're a people pleaser, you attract the people who are going to keep you a pleaser. The ones that are rude, don't give a shit about your time, don't care about informing you of plans that have changed, who like to just dangle you in space and play with you like a cat and a little string toy. They don't have a desire to deepen your relationship because you are there to support them. You're there to make them feel better about their own self when they don't feel good about themselves. And so they take your precious, innocent energy and they suck it out. I saw this most hilarious meme that I have to, because it fits. It was a photo of a butt, but the butt was made out of straws. And the meme said something like, photo of my butt made out of straws so you can suck my ass. And it just made me laugh so hard. I can be disturbing, and it was so funny. But yes, I hope that image delighted you. It delighted me. So, when you're SR or SA, responsible, actualized, actuality, actual in yourself, you can have humor like this. You know what makes you laugh and who you are and where your edges are, and you cleanse yourself of anything that does not serve you. So this is a painful process because you might lose someone you care about. And honey, if they aren't giving you the same time of day or energy, Adios, sucker. To make a decision is to sever the head of an opportunity, to sever the path of a way of going. So you are now going to sever that relationship, that person, that whatever it was for you, so that you can go and heal, so that you can go and live your best life. Amen. Next, you realize that you cannot avoid what is making you upset. And you understand how crippling that is for your experience here on earth. You understand how immature that is. You understand that the more you avoid, the more problems that get created because you're not addressing the rock in your shoe. And the more that you just try to hike with the rock in your shoe, the more irritated you get, the more unpleasant you get to be around, the more dark and heavy life gets around you, all because of this pebble in your shoe. All you have to do is stop, take your boot off, take the rock out, put it back on, and continue. All you have to do is understand what is upsetting you, put it into words, directly communicate with whoever is involved in that interaction, and be honest about it. Do not worry about the outcome. Do not worry about what they will say. Do not worry about what they will feel. Do not worry about the response because you can't control it anyways. You cannot control it anyways. So do not let it corrupt you on the inside, make you mentally and emotionally exhausted, physically feeling icky, and lodging itself into different symptoms within the body just because you want to make them comfortable and make them feel better, even though you're denying your honest expression. Don't do that. Please stop. Please stop. This was one of the best lessons I learned since being 23. I'm 26. I learned a lot in 3 years. And I'm real passionate about letting you in on the secrets of why I am who I am now because I'm so much cooler than I was at 23. And if anyone disagrees, well, maybe you were an energy vampire of mine and you're like, I want your energy again. I'm just kidding, kind of. Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, we're going to keep going. Anxiety is a crippling experience in our bodies that we choose. And oftentimes, we're a people pleaser, we get anxious because we're afraid to be alone, or we're afraid of making a decision because we don't want to piss anyone off or make anyone mad or conflict with their interest. By golly, we just got to get outside, exercise a little bit, meditate, and understand you have complete control over that. You do. You have complete control. And if you're someone who's like, I don't, I'm on meds for it, I'm on this and that, honey, those are all choices still. And you get to choose to put your focus on it being a problem or an opportunity, being an issue or an opening of a door. How can you connect with other people or learn how they are healing this within them? What inside of you are you denying yourself from feeling that is making you so heady and so anxious and so overwhelmed? Because oftentimes it's not letting chi, energy, out of the body. It's having a blocked chakra system, depending on what and where in your body you may be blocked and what the root cause of it is. There's an episode for the anxiety as well on the Incredibelle Conversations podcast, and I'll link all these ones I'm mentioning below so you can just boop to it right after this one. And lastly, going from a PP to a SR or SA is radical self-acceptance. Every single day you wake up, whether you mess up, maybe you make a mistake, maybe you have a success, maybe you are very humbled by an experience that you had in that day, wherever it is, it's accepting yourself in that process and in that journey. for where you are and who you are. And more importantly, how you're going to let it affect you. So, accepting yourself in every moment and really repeating in your mind, this too shall pass. Whatever it is, it will pass, just like everything in life. So, those are like the bigger how to shifts. And those are the big, like, I am making this my intention to become more self aware. So, those are like the headers, right, on the paper. And now we got the bullet points of the tools that are going to help us make this shift, because this is now the unlearning process. So maybe as a people pleaser, you're always saying yes, yes to everything and everyone but yourself. And so now it's time to say no. No, I teach this in my membership. I forget which zodiac sign I pair this with. I think it's Virgo season, because Virgo is so particular on being perfect in every way possible. And saying no is a big deal. And really understanding how a no feels in your body by practicing. All right, you could Google images and you could just say, like, oh, what does this horse photo bring up in my body? What does this person jumping out of a plane with a parachute make me feel? What does that photo of two people fighting make me feel? Like, where am I with this? And really just getting real with yourself. Like, what feelings come up and what emotions are being triggered? What experiences of my own are now coming to the surface, and why? And walking yourself through that process. But you can start as small to saying no as having a friend ask you to go to dinner and you stopping before responding, giving yourself 5 seconds to close your eyes, ask yourself, am I actually hungry? Is this, available for me physically, mentally, emotionally, financially? Do I have the space? Am I busy? Do I have other things to take care of? Do I need to be disciplined in some way, shape, or form right now? And saying no and not giving an excuse behind it, not over explaining is a better way to say this. So, dismiss excuse, over explaining. Like, you don't have to explain to anyone why it took you 3 days to text them back. You don't have to explain why you don't want to go to the library. You don't have to explain why you don't want to go on that date with someone. You don't have to. You're not entitled to anyone outside of yourself but you to explain things to, unless you're in a partnership. That's a different story. You can go listen to some different episodes of mine to help you there. But when it's you learning how to just be saying no in this way, and you're not literally responsible for something that needs to happen, practice small. And then you can start making bigger decisions, like no, I don't want to buy this house because I really hate a closed concept. I want open concept. And not letting that be like, that's a non-negotiable at that point. Maybe that's an extreme material example, but you're getting the picture. And then another one is listening to what you want. So this one can tie in. Let's go up here with your, releasing people and, cleansing your energy, finding the people that resonate with you, who respect your energy. So listen to what you want. This could be putting an alarm in your phone for 3 times a day. This is how I first started getting attuned with my emotional body. And I made it ask me, how am I feeling right now? How do I feel right now? And I would close my eyes in that very moment, whether I had, you know, a couple moments because I was in the grocery store or I was at home and I had many moments because nothing was going to interrupt me or I wasn't going to get ramrodded in my vehicle. And I would tune in. I'd go, how am I feeling? I'm feeling like I have to go to the bathroom. I feel really peaceful in my body. Oh, I kind of feel this weird throbbing in my head. Overall, I feel really content and I feel focused and yeah, I'm nothing else is coming up. And that would be it. Or maybe I felt rage. Maybe I felt sadness. Whatever it was, I was honest and I just asked myself simple questions that I could answer without debating myself. So I highly recommend that one to start out with getting attuned with your own emotions. Next, we have no more relying on excuses, self discipline. Oh gosh, what's a good one? Man, I really want to start that YouTube channel, but I just can't do it because, everyone will judge me and who's going to watch my videos and no one likes me and no one's going to resonate and I'm not that cool. And this is going into deep people pleasing behavior and thoughts because you might seem better than someone else if you actually put yourself out there, which is not the case. And not using excuses like that will have you sit down and write down the 15 YouTube videos you want to make, and then you'll record them and you'll put them out there and you'll promote them. You'll say, hey, this is me. Hey, I'm building a community. Hey, this is really fun. And that will help you find that self awareness. But really, not letting yourself say, oh, tonight I can eat the crazy processed food because I ate healthy all week. No, like you're comparing yourself to things you did that are just, like how you want to live. And when you want to live a certain way, there's no like going back and forth, if that makes sense. When you're disciplined, it's just like, this is how I am. This is who I am. This is my lifestyle. I'm someone who's conscious and I make these decisions, and this is how I feel about it. And when I want to drink coffee in the morning, I drink it, but I don't just automatically have this function of waking up, going to coffee without thinking about why and if I feel like I need it today. So it's really being so present and not automated with, I feel terrible and I know I need to get to the gym or whatever other example you want to impute there. But having self discipline it is not going to limit your life to not having fun. So deassociate, unlearn that self discipline and fun are contradicting matters because they actually go hand in hand. And then spending time alone and proving you are safe with being with yourself is a huge deal. And this was something that I used to be really nervous about. I hated being alone. I never, ever, ever, ever lived alone until my current partnership. I've never lived alone. I lived with my parents until I was about 18. I moved out to Colorado and moved into employee housing. I moved into a house with 5 dudes, loved them. I then moved into a home with an old partner and then into a different home with that partner, and then I finally moved out of that relationship and into a home with 2 people I didn't even know. And then I went back to Michigan and I lived with my dad again. And then I got into my new partnership and I lived with him in Alaska. And then, only then, when he had to go to work at this man camp in Alaska, miles, thousands of miles away, I had to live by myself with my dog. And wow, if you've never lived alone, you need to go live alone. If you really want to stop people pleasing and get to know who you are, hot damn, living alone will ship shape you right up. And it will make you understand how fucking powerful you are, needless to say. It is it's the most liberating experience to live alone, to literally dictate your time and to make decisions about yourself and how you're moving forward. Life changing. So maybe it's not an option for you to live alone, which is fine, but what about making yourself a meal? What about going camping by yourself? What about going on a road trip by yourself? What about taking yourself out for a date? What about taking, I don't know, the dogs for a walk or signing yourself up for a class, just doing something on your own, whatever it is? That will continue to reiterate that you are safe with yourself. And that is a huge, huge, huge part of learning to be self aware and have self responsibility and know that you can do anything. We're almost done here, guys. So thank you for hanging in. But another tool is practice being assertive with yourself. So this one, you can go into the bathroom and look at yourself in the mirror so that you can actually replay this moment and talk to your reflection. Yes, you will be talking to yourself. A beautiful practice to have. And you will think of a situation where you let yourself be pushed over, whether you were afraid to speak up or you didn't feel like you had the authority. Now is the time to revisit that experience, make it what you want, and then rewire your brain to have that better experience and to remember, oh, when I speak up, when I assert myself. I'm sorry, all these dogs got their collars on today. Usually I take them off. Today I did not. So if you're hearing all the jingle jangles, thank you for being so kind and staying on the podcast. So when we rewire the brain like this, wow, in the future, we can actually show up in that way and not be afraid. A situation of mine that I worked through was when I had tried out for ski patrol and I made it. And I was so excited. I was the first female snowboarder under 21 to make the ski patrol. And it was my dream. It was my dream came true when I got that call. And I did rookie training, but I could not continue to be on ski patrol because I could not pass my emergency medical technician exam. And that was devastating. That was heartbreaking. That was me not being responsible. Yet, how I was talked to by the director at that time when I didn't pass and all this other stuff happened, I was dehumanized. I was treated unfairly. I was just like thrashed verbally and abused in some ways. And I was just wondering, wow, if HR knew what was going on, this man wouldn't be employed anymore. He would not be the director. And I never shared that experience with anyone because I was bawling my eyes out. And the dude had no remorse. So I got to go back with myself and address that conversation how I wanted to address it from the get go. And I got to reestablish that triumph in myself, really. It was great. Another tool is asking for help, no matter how silly you might feel. And this can also help us train not blaming. And I'm saying this in the sense of oftentimes when we're with someone or a partner, we could ask a question like, why didn't you do the dishes? Or could you just do the dishes? And it can sound kind of harsh. It can sound like we are blaming them for not doing something or whatever the case. And a better way to say it is, would you help me buy X, Y, and Z? It would be really helpful if you could X, Y, and Z right now. And this is going to help you ask for help, not feel like a burden, know that you are worthy of receiving help, and that in life you must be action orientated as well as receptive. You must know how to accept and receive what you ask for. Because that's the balance. That's yin and yang. That is masculine, feminine. That's just polarity. And so we gotta be good at doing both. And if you're hyper masculine or action orientated, where you don't often ask for help, you gotta ask for help. You gotta ask for help to establish that sense of self-worth, that you are worthy of help, that you are worthy of taking time from somebody, that you are worthy of saying, hey, I really need you. And honestly, it makes them, like the other person, most of the time feel really important and really special, because when someone gets to help you, they feel better. When someone gets to give a gift, you don't say, oh, thanks for the gift, and then give it back to them. That's not how it works. When you're presented with a gift, you take it because it makes them feel good, because that's a whole process in itself. So even if it's like, hey, would you help me put together this bed frame? Or hey, could you help me start the hot water? Or could you help me cut the onions? Start small, go big. 2 more. You're doing great. Be vulnerable and share your feelings. You can start in a journal, start with someone you really trust, a friend, and then maybe find a support group that focuses on active listening or whatever you are undergoing. Maybe it's just like a grief circle that you go to so that you can express all of your emotion. Start with a clean slate. And it's really sharing your story, your experience, and turning it into inspiration, because other people feel a similar way. Our experiences will always be different, but the feelings don't vary that much. It's anger, it's hate, it's betrayal, it's sadness, it's grief. Like we label them the same, but what causes it may be different. That's okay. But we can relate so much by sharing ourselves, sharing our story, letting other people know, hey, it's okay to be this way. It's okay to have this experience and to use it as a motive to heal, to continue to expand on your journey. So, really getting the courage to speak your mind and share your experiences is a really beautiful way to do it. And then, lastly, I've already said this in the pod, but forgive yourself for not being able to change how you were in the past. You mustn't dwell on what no longer exists, because what's it doing for you? It is eating the poison apple. It's not helping, it's not making it better, it's not changing the situation. It's really, thinking about it, going, all right, well, what is this going to make me take action in now? Or how can I really release this and let it go from my psyche? And, even one way that I like to do it is I like to write it down on a piece of paper, crumble it up, say the opposite of whatever it is, like, I'm not good enough, crumple it up, I am good enough, and then throwing it in the garbage. She gone. Or I feel really bad when I was late to that wedding and I showed up during the ceremony and people started to look at me versus the bride. Crumble it up, throw it in the garbage. Know that you weren't trying to be deceptive or evil or taking the show in that moment, and that you can have better judgment in the future. You're not dumb or ditzy or naive. Like you just get to go through life and learn these experiences and release them. And really that's what overcoming people pleasing is. It's taking responsibility for life and knowing you got this. You have control. And it's gonna get better. I promise. It's always gonna get better. So that was our show for today. If you found that this was helpful, please subscribe, comment, share what you took away, share what impacted you, share this on your socials. Please, please, please. I really am doing this in the bootlegging way, or bootstrapping way. This is all me. I don't pay for ads, I don't pay for anything outside of myself, so any support I get from you means the world, and I'm so honored that you took the time to listen to this podcast today. Thank you so much. I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on the next episode.